A classic franchise has returns, and it's Contra returns, and you can play this now on the go on your iPhone or Android. And so what they've done is Konami's teamed up with Teamy, and they have created a new game in the franchise on the go, and it's free to download and check out yourself. Like many of you, I grew up with the original Contra, and Contra Returns adapts the original to a mobile gaming experience and adds a whole bunch more, offering a lot of the original enemies and levels enhanced. One of the very first levels that you experience is a throwback to yesteryear, and it reminds me of the original Contra with familiar sounds, weapons, and enemies. And there's a lot in here to enjoy. There's tons of weapon upgrades. There's different character selections. You can even unlock the ability to change how your character looks. There's multiplayer. This is a unique game with lots of different areas and enemies and equipment that you can unlock and discover. Definitely check it out. It's free to download and check out. There's a ranking system. If you remember the original and are looking for a new mobile game to check out, you may want to download and play this. It has a lot of the classic gameplay style. Download it today and check it out for yourself. Today, I'm going to talk about some classic run and gun games that you may want to check out. Some of these are timeless classics, and everybody has their own game that they remember playing quite a bit. These are just a few among several made in this type of genre, and I thought I'd share today some classics that I think are amazing. They're very challenging. Some of these are difficult games, but nevertheless, a lot of fun to play by yourself or with somebody to partner up with, as some of these are multiplayer. So I'm going to pick 5 games, share them with you. Sit back, relax. You may want to grab some popcorn. Here we go. The Adventures of Batman and Robin for the Sega Genesis is a truly brutal, difficult game, but if you use a Game Genie, it makes it a little bit easier to play. It has a 2-player option. I was just blown away by the special effects in this game, especially for the Sega Genesis, and it's a different game than the Super Nintendo one. The Super Nintendo game is an excellent option for people who have a Super Nintendo, but I grew up with the Genesis one, and I think it is a stunner to look at. It's well animated, and I think there's going to be a lot to like here, especially if you're a fan of Batman or even the animated series, which was an excellent thing to watch back in the 90s. And so, is it the best Batman game? No, but it's an excellent run and gun and a good example of this type of gameplay style. And if you're looking for a challenge, look no further than this game, as it is brutally difficult. There are some Game Genie codes that make it a little bit easier for especially 2-player option, which I think is a better way to play this. When you see that logo, you know you're in for a treat. An Alien Soldier, which was only released in North America through the Sega channel, is a fantastic run and gun game. It was kind of a follow-up project that Treasure did after the success with Gunstar Heroes. I'll get to that later. And you know, this is really the focus of this game, is the intense boss fights with short levels in between, with excellent graphics, sound, and gameplay options. You can kind of choose your loadout. This came near the end of the life cycle of the Sega Genesis, and it truly showed the capabilities of the hardware, and it also put Treasure at legendary status with its amazing and unique gameplay. Now, it is a single player experience, but for many people that's not going to matter. I highly recommend checking this out if you haven't, and I think it's one of Treasure's better classics and one that will be remembered forever. If you're looking for a 2-player option, look no further than Gunstar Heroes. I remember the first time I experienced this, I just couldn't believe that it was running on a Sega Genesis. And this really was pushing the capabilities back in the early to mid 90s. And this is something that I think if you're a fan of run and gun games and you haven't played this game. You must. You can choose your level at the start as well as weapon selection. It is just an amazing game and truly shows off what Treasure could do programming wise. There's just so much to love here. There's the ability to throw enemies, and there's just enemies coming from everywhere. It's just truly an intense game. You know, really when it comes down to these types of games, it really relies on intensity. Everything in this game is top notch. You talk to many classic Sega fans or even Treasure fans, are going to tell you gotta play Gunstar Heroes. It was a game included on the Sega Genesis Mini because it truly is a timeless classic and one that will be remembered as one of the best run and gun games ever made. I did a previous video on my favorite Neo Geo games, and I have to include Metal Slug 3. Here's what I said about it. It is stunning to look at. Metal Slug 3 is the one that got it right. It was the last one under SNK, but oh my goodness, the animation, the graphics, the intensity. You know, the stages are super long. There's only 5 stages, but there's a ton packed in here. And, you know, it's sprite based. This is everything that you would want in a 2D run and gun. This, you know, it was ported to several things, you know, everything from the virtual console. It's even on the Switch. Oh my goodness, there is so much to like about this game. You know, multiplayer, 2-player action, and, you know, everything. You just, it's like you want to pause and look at the stunning graphics of this game. You know, this really was the swan song for Neo Geo. You know, it really was the one to get it right. There's so much to like about this game. If you are a fan of run and gun, this is number one. In fact, some people would say this is number one for the console of all time. It is breathtaking. The good news is that it's also ported to everything. Contra to me was always the experience that I enjoyed renting and eventually owning and playing this with my brother. This is just simply an iconic classic, both arcade and home versions. But, you know, for me, it's always going to be the NES version that I remember playing. As, you know, I lived in the country, I didn't have access to a lot of arcades, and honestly speaking, I grew up with the NES version, and it's just like stuck in my brain as a timeless classic. This is the one that millions of people have experienced. This is the one they remember, and I can tell you, going back and playing the original, it's like putting on an old baseball glove. It just fits just right. One of the best NES games to experience. If you haven't checked this out, I highly recommend it, and belongs on the list of one of the best run and gun games ever made. So there you have it. Those are 5 classic run and gun games that you can go back and revisit and check out. What are your favorites? Comment below. Do you agree with this list? What would you add to the list? And as always, thank you for the ongoing support. I'm having a lot of fun sharing lots of different content on my channel. If you're new, you may want to hit that like and subscribe button and click the bell as I'm uploading videos every week. You folks are wonderful and beautiful. Let's keep it positive. This is the Immortal John Hancock, and you have a good day.